Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the stream. Well, I'm determined, guys, today to finish the pyramid, and yeah. So this may be a very long stream or a very short stream, all depending on how long it takes me to finish the pyramid. As you can see, I have been busy gathering a whole bunch of supplies, and also I have made a whole bunch of progress off screen on the pyramids. So it's going to be interesting um, to see how far we can get today. I believe in the last stream I finished the sandstone of the pyramid, and in this particular one I am hoping to finish applying the concrete powder to the pyramid. So that is hopefully going to happen. Now, that's about all the concrete powder I have. That doesn't have any in. That's the gravel I have, and I don't have any more sand left. So we'll see how far this takes us. But otherwise, we'll have to go sand mining and concrete powder mining after this. And of course, I need to leave space for the chests there, the shulker boxes. So, off we go. Let's head on up here. And yeah, hopefully we can finish this off today. It would be pretty cool. Now, let's see around this way. Now, I've switched to Twitch recently for my streams, and it seems to be going pretty good. I don't so far have a lot of people watching me on Twitch itself. And if anybody is busy watching me on Twitch right now, hello, welcome. But when I upload it to YouTube, it seems to do quite well still. Well, in terms of me getting 5 or 6 or 7 views. So it's pretty much what I used to get. So yeah, it seems to be doing alright, and at least with Twitch it gives me like a backup almost. So I have it on Twitch and on YouTube, so if it disappears off one of the platforms, at least it's still on the other for a while. So yeah, at least there's that. Okay, and sorry, just checking some stuff here. Let's just keep going this way. Now, like I've been saying, the pyramid has gone through a lot of changes since last time. I've included a little entrance to the front, which you should see as we come up on it. Also a little portal that links back to the portal room where we are from. So it just takes me back home quickly. So that's quite nice, and it doesn't mess up anybody else's portal, which is brilliant. So yeah, there we go. There's the pyramid coming into view now, and it takes a while to render in for those of you that haven't seen this before. The pyramid is pretty darn massive, so yeah. If we come right to this spot here, this is the entrance, and we can walk inside now, which is nice, being able to go inside the pyramid like this. And as you can see, this is how it looks from the inside. It is so massive that the other side of it doesn't render in. So you have to actually walk a bit for it to be able to render in. Obviously, if your render distance is extended further, more of it will render in, but still, like if you look up, the sky actually like fades out the top of it over there, which is pretty awesome. Just how absolutely huge this building is. And I like how we have like a whole biome trapped with the pyramid has consumed this entire area of the desert, which is just super cool to me. And also another interesting thing is these like geometric shapes that have formed on the pyramid on the side. Now, what is the cause of that? I'm not entirely, because it's not on this side, but it was when I was building that side before I poured the water over the concrete. So I'm wondering if that same thing will happen to this side of the pyramid once I pour the water over this particular concrete, if this will all disappear or if this will just stay as it is. So that's pretty cool. Also, there's a little opening on this side that leads into a river, so maybe that might be something that's affecting things. And of course, there are areas under here that are not entirely lit up, so we do have to be careful because I am still only wearing gold armor, so yeah, and the lighter wings really don't help with that, so yeah, this is pretty cool, I think. Definitely the biggest project that I have ever done. If not the most monotonous, because it's just placing the same blocks in the same pattern over and over again. Oh my gosh. Not the most exciting build in the world, but definitely the biggest that I have ever done. Gosh. So yeah, hopefully someday somebody can come in here and do something cool with the inside. I have no problem with that if anybody wants to do that. For myself, I'll be pretty much done when I'm done with this. I won't be building this any further. So let's just head on out through here and come on up. So yeah, I've completely done this side, covered it with water and firmed concrete, but that's been done for ages. I've also done the other two sides, so I've just got one more side to do, and I'm about halfway up that side, so that is all good. So let's just get to the top of this thing, so you guys can get a view from the top and see what it's like. Eat a bit of steak on our way, because it does take quite a time of continuous jumping, as you can see here, the ground slowly receding from us to get to the top of this thing. I think this is actually a bit more of an interesting view rather than the same wide view as we go up. So I like to jump up the pyramid backwards. When I go up it, it's just more interesting to me to watch the ground receding. Yeah, because otherwise you just get this pretty much the whole time. So at least here you get a little bit of ground view as you jump up. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I did like a little double obelisk thing by the entrance. I don't know, just seemed appropriate to me. So that's what I did. And we should be getting closer to the top now because the ground is receding almost fully away from our view. And the last few trees are fading out there, and we just got the little two obelisks left down in the mist down below. And now you can start to see right over there the little tippy top of the pyramid, which is in gold, as we finally make our way right to the top. So here we go. And upsy daisy, almost there, just a few more jumps, and we are there indeed. Cool. So yeah, as you can see, I've done this complete side now, I have done this complete side now, and those, like I said, stretch all the way down to ground level. So now we just need to finish this, which I have done right about, as you can see, to that level. So that's pretty cool. It's working out quite nicely. I'm going to see if I can, I don't know how much this is going to cause lag or whatnot, but just going to extend this. Hey, Matt. Yeah, at least we get a bit of a more view in as we do things. So yeah, we've totally carved away that mountain and whatnot just to make sure we can fit this all in here. I've never been really one for landscaping, so I actually like that sort of like man's influence on the world feel of where you can see it's just like a sudden cut off there. And it gives a nice view of the different rock structures. I don't know. I enjoy that. Lots of people don't, but I actually like seeing that sort of thing. It's interesting. It's like a slice into the world. It looks interesting view you don't usually get. So yeah, this is pretty much what I've been doing. It's much easier than placing the sandstone blocks, because with placing the sandstone blocks, the problem becomes that you are placing it onto nothingness. So you tend to fall every now and then, and you can only place it at a certain speed and a certain angle, and a whole lot more complicated than just coming and placing this on top of a block that already exists there, like what we are doing now. So this goes much, much quicker. It's just gathering these resources that is quite tricky. Crafting Mantis kindly let me use her bone farm to get all the bone meal I needed to dye the gravel and sand white to make this white concrete powder, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, it'll be pretty awesome once we pour the water over the top of this. Now, unfortunately, as I saw when I was doing the other side of the pyramid, when you place the water over the top of the pyramid, it doesn't flow down evenly, so you have to go in afterwards. But it still makes a pretty nice effect as it flows down and changes the thing. So hopefully I can bring my camera count in and show you guys on stream that coming down while I do this off screen. So yeah, that should be pretty cool. Like I said, this is going to be finished by the end of the stream. I've determined I'm going to carry on streaming this, unless obviously some emergency happens in real life that pulls me away, but this is what I want to do. Just get this pyramid done. So yeah. And it's not too far from being finished, as you guys saw. Probably going to be at least an hour or so, if not more. So yeah. Might be a bit quieter stream as I run out of things to say, but hopefully some people will join in and we can have a nice chat before that happens. Otherwise, I'll just keep placing blocks and speak up when I think of things to say. Speaking of things to say, I do have actually something to talk about. They're going to be releasing a live action Pokemon movie, which I'm pretty excited about. Those of you that know me know that I'm a huge fan of Pokemon, have been for ever since it came out in this country that I'm in. Um, so that's pretty cool. I can't wait to see that movie. I saw the trailer for it today. It's called Detective Pikachu, if you guys want to check it out for yourselves. Bit of a warning, it is live action, which means that the Pokemon in it are live action too. Now you're wondering, live action Pokemon, how can they be the Pokemon aren't real? But they use like a combination of puppetry and CGI, which is just fascinating to me. I don't know whether I find it incredibly awesome or incredibly creepy, especially when you guys see the Mr. Mime in it. It's not something that you see them as drawings and they're not as creepy, but then when you see them in real life, it's like, "Arr." I'm very curious. Like Pikachu is much more furry. Like it's covered in fur from tip of its ears to the base of its tail, which of course like that would be what it would be because it is based on a mouse, and like Pika Pika is mouse, but um and Pikachu. Anyway, one of the two. But yeah, it's interesting to me like how my mind never correlated that furriness to it, and when I saw it, I was like, Pikachu, why are you so furry? Like, but it, yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. But then comes Jigglypuff, and that is one Pokemon that I have never imagined to have fur, because in my mind it's the balloon Pokemon, so I always imagined it to have like a rubbery texture to its skin. So that was super interesting to see how they had made Jigglypuff like super furry. But then comes Mr. Mime. Oh my gosh. Mr. Mime looks terrifying. Like that thing could give kids nightmares. Like, oh my gosh. Um and then you get Charizard, which just looks like a generic dragon, and Greninja looks absolutely stunning. But yeah, oh my gosh, I really like how they've done it. But like I said, I don't know whether to be creeped out by it or admire how well they've managed to actually translate the ideas. And there are so many hidden Pokemon in the trailer. Like, you get a scene where these Bulbasaur are walking down a river, and you see these little Morlul floating around next to them. And I, for one, have always liked the design of Morlul. Like, a lot of people have really bashed on it, and we don't need another mushroom Pokemon and whatnot. But the luminescence of the Morlul is what really sells it for me. It looks so beautiful as it luminesces. I don't like its evolved form that much, but just as it is, it's a pretty cool Pokemon. So yeah, it just looks so beautiful as it floats next to the Bulbasaur. It really, really looks cool. Another aspect of the trailer that I really liked is that it doesn't follow the Detective Pikachu game exactly from what I can see. So it will be an interesting story for those of who have already played the game. But it doesn't fall into like, I don't know if those of you that watched Dragon Ball when you were smaller, or still watch it now maybe, and then the Dragon Ball movie came out, and it had nothing at all to do with the Dragon Ball show, and it was just completely just using the same characters' names, and sort of their resemblances, but completely different storyline. Like, what even was it? Sort of thing, or like the Mario Brothers movie. At least with Detective Pikachu, it's quite faithful to the whole Pokemon series. Like, the way they've integrated Pokemon into the real world setting is just so brilliant. Like, the main character is a failed Pokemon trainer, and we always think of Pokemon masters, like these people that go out there and live the dream and become champions, and like even Ash, he didn't do extremely well, but lately he's, well, I mean, uh, gosh, Kalos, he came second. So I mean that's pretty awesome. Like, if you think of silver medalists in the Olympics, sort of thing, those people are super athletes. But what happens to trainers that can't even place? They don't. Never mind coming second or 18th or whatever. They just don't place. They don't qualify. They can't make it past the gyms. They can't get in even a single badge maybe, or their dreams, just don't come to fruition. What do they become in the Pokemon world? Because pretty much we've just seen trainers. So it's very interesting to see, like, if you're not a Nurse Joy or an Officer Jenny, what do you do with your life if you can't become a trainer? So that's really, really like a nice side aspect of it that I really enjoy. And yeah, so it's I'm really looking forward to actually seeing that movie. And I'm let me say I'm not extremely hopeful for it because there's a lot of ways it could still go wrong, but I'm much more hopeful for it than I have been for a lot of, how do I say this, game franchise movies. Like game franchise movies generally don't do very well and are not very accurate. Like I was saying, the Mario movie, or yeah, but Dragon Ball's not really a game franchise movie, but it's a anime franchise movie or a manga franchise movie, I would say. But it's still interesting to see how, even though they have made this movie, they've stuck so close. It's really cool. And yeah, so many Pokemon in it. It's so cool to see the Pokemon interacting like in day to day life. I'm looking so forward to seeing. Just, I think I'm gonna have more fun watching the background of the movie than I will have watching the movie itself. Just because they've packed so much detail into it. It's so cool. It really really is. Well, at least in the trailer. Maybe that won't carry through. You never know. You know, they always put the best foot. Well, they try to put the best foot forward with the trailer so that people go out and watch the movie. So we'll see. Yeah. So that's that topic, and that's that first batch of concrete powder, and we still have a way to go. So it looks like we will have to do some mining this stream. There we go. Alrighty, and then there's also the new update coming to Minecraft. As you've seen, I've started another series, Ostrogoth or something along those lines. Can't quite remember exactly what I've called it at this moment, so that's pretty cool. It's a where I play a little dwarf that's been separated from his homeland. He's been driven out by the orcs that have ravaged his homeland for too long, and he's looking for a new home to settle in, start building up his own mountain home, and eventually, hopefully, have more and more dwarves join him, which will be pretty cool as we go along. So that's quite interesting. The way I handle death in that game is that the earth can bring him back, so it's sort of like an explanation for why he can respawn, but obviously earth can't bring his items with him, so that's like a dwarvish trait that he has. And yeah, it's going to focus a lot on the new latest updates. So the fact that you got stone stairs and slabs and all the different things now of all the different blocks. So it's going to be pretty cool to see how I'm able to use that. And it's looking more and more in the new update as if you will be able to utilize different crafting items for different things. So everything won't be centralized to the crafting table like it is now. You'll have like a stone cutting table for stone, or a glass making table, whatever, or barrels for storage instead of chests, or maybe a combination of both. And so it's going to be very interesting. Also, there's lanterns now, which is going to be pretty cool for that series, because instead of having torches on the walls everywhere, you can have some lanterns, which will be pretty nice aesthetic for mining in the caves and digging his deep holes. So that will be pretty awesome for that dwarf focus series. Thinking of introducing a texture pack maybe to it as well, just to change up the look of the game. I know the official texture update has been there, but it's still like this sort of textures. Whereas I think it's 16 by 16, if I'm not mistaken. So I want to go like a higher resolution texture pack and stuff like that, but I have to wait until Optifine comes out for that. At the meantime, we just have snapshots, so I'll be working on those. His main weapon that he uses is a crossbow, which I actually quite like. It's a lot weaker than I thought it would be. I don't know if it's just the particular enchantments that I have on it, on my one, that's making it function weaker than I thought it would be. Already, the fact that you can shoot through foes has been incredibly awesome. But the actual damage, it takes quite a few shots, whereas with a good bow, you can pretty much one-shot things. So that's interesting in and of itself. I don't know if you can put sharpness or something on along those lines. Well, I wouldn't think sharpness, but you know, something along those lines to improve its strength. It would be cool if you could enchant arrows with sharpness and skills like that. Yeah, just a thought. Have sharpness 6 arrows. Would be cool if the crossbow actually had bolts instead of arrows, made slightly different and they function differently. But that's just another idea for another time. The scaffolding, I don't know. I'm a bit neither here nor there on scaffolding. I was super excited when I first saw it, but the fact that gravity applies to it, so you have to, like, you can build out 4 and then it drops. I don't know, you'll just, for a survival player, you're going to need so much scaffolding and so much bamboo and string. So first you have to make a spider farm to get the string, and then you have to make a bamboo farm to get all the bamboo. Then only can you start using scaffolding. So it's like a mid-game sort of thing. It's not an early game item. But why not just use dirt? I mean, by mid-game you already have chests full of dirt. So why not just use the dirt that you already... I guess aesthetically it's more pleasing, but functionally, I don't know. It's just going to be glorified ladders for me, I guess. Ladders that I can easily collapse at any time I want. So that's pretty much what it is. It's not going to... I don't think I'm going to use it for its intended purpose ever. But yeah. Because I like having the ability of bridging out into nowhere without being affected by gravity. I mean, if you can break the laws of physics, why not break them? Why confine yourself? But anyway. I mean, it's not that hard to clean up the dirt behind you either. So. But who knows? I might find myself proven wrong. Also, I found that I really like the dead coral textures. So for those of you that don't know, if you mine coral in the sea and don't do it with a silk touch pick, I believe, you get dead coral. And I really like the textures associated with it. It looks really cool. It's like different variants in stone. I actually wish there would be layers in the ground, which is just dead coral layers, to mimic like an ancient ocean that you were under in certain areas. Maybe that would be really cool. Just to have this like variance in the stone at different layers, that would be super cool. I wish they would incorporate, like they've got the granite and the diorite, they just have the dead coral sort of thing. But not so much in like splotches, like how they have with the granite and the diorite, more in like layers, like they have in the mesa of the different types of terracotta. Or hardened clay as it used to be called. Let us sleaze? Sleaze? Snooze. That's what I meant to say. Gosh. There we go. A good old snooze. And it's taking a long time because it's slowed because Mott isn't sleeping, even though he's on the server. He must be AFK, which is perfectly fine. I have been AFK myself quite a lot recently, getting the bones for this, all the concrete that I've needed. Still got some bones at home, so I shouldn't need to farm any more of those, hopefully. Otherwise, we're going to have to find something to do while I do that. Because we'll have to actually like go and kill skeletons to make it interesting, because standing in front of a skelly spawner is not the most interesting thing in the world, I will admit. Not that this is the most interesting thing in the world, but at least it's better than standing in one place. You get a change of scenery as I turn sides every now and then. And also you guys get an idea of how hectic it is building something like this. And for some reason my middle click isn't registering all the time, which is a bit problematic when you're trying to do something like this. My thoughts on pandas? Meh. They're cute, I guess. They don't really provide much function to the game that I can see, so I don't really see the point of adding them. Yeah, it's like polar bears. Everybody was super excited for polar bears when they first came out, but now, when last did you hear someone talk about polar bears, unless the series has a focus on them for some reason? But yeah, I liked Notch's philosophy of you don't add something unless it has a specific reason for being there. Like also you notice with the mobs that he used to add, like he made the skeleton, the zombie, the what, but they each were unique. They each fulfilled their own role. Now you've got the drowned and the I can't even remember the name of the desert zombie, Husk I think it is, that basically fill the exact same role as the zombie does, just biome specifically. Like one functions better underwater and one gives you hunger, which is a bit of a different function, but still it's the exact same as a zombie. It acts the same way. It follows the same AI basically, and I don't know. I like it when things are unique to themselves. Slight variations I'm not a huge fan of. Just my own personal way of seeing things, I guess. But I understand for creating a game, it's much easier to implement something that already exists and put it in the game. So than to create a whole new entity where it could cause troubles, because everything you add, it adds hundreds of layers of complexity to the game. Because, say for instance, this concrete powder. Not only now do you have to work out, okay, concrete powder acts like sand, right? So it falls, but how does it react next to sandstone? And how does it react next to grass? And how does it react next to every other single block that you have in the game? And each block you add adds more and more to that layer of complexity. And then each mob you add adds more and more layer of complexity to that. So the more you add, the more complex it gets, the harder it gets to fix bugs, the harder it gets to make things. So I fully understand them rather just sticking to tried and true things that they know work, rather than... Also, it's hard to judge reactions of people. Like, everybody likes zombies and skeletons, right? So if we give the variations, then they more or less will be okay with them. But if we add this new mob, we're not entirely sure how people will react, like the Phantom. For instance, that's an entirely new mob. We have nothing like it in the game. It flies, it comes out at night if you don't sleep, and it attacks you. So that's a pretty cool addition. I really, really liked it. But a lot of people didn't, because it was new, and people don't generally like new. They like comfort. They don't like to be kicked out of their comfort zones and to push themselves and to try and become something that they're not. They're comfortable, and they don't want to be removed from that comfort, even if it means that they'll obtain a higher level of enjoyment or comfort from being kicked out of the comfort zone that they're currently in. Yeah, that's why the expression exists. Better the devil that you know than the devil that you don't. Because people honestly believe that a devil is better than a devil. When evil is evil. Why not just kick both those devils out and go and aim for an angel? Find yourself an angel rather than a devil. You know? I'd say better the angel you don't know than the devil that you do or don't. That's the philosophy I take in life. Aim for the best rather than being satisfied with what you already have. But oh well. As I say that, I realize that not everybody follows that view, and the majority of the world likes to be comfortable. So they have to develop the game according to that. So yeah, almost there. At least you can see the gold now. I don't know if you guys can, but if you really squint hard, you can see like a little layer of gold at the top there. Which is pretty cool. At least we're getting closer. Also, it takes a couple of stacks, as you can see, per line that we do, so we're definitely going to have to go and mine some more which we call gravel and sand. And I can introduce you to how absolutely horrendous gravel mining is since the update. My own fault, because I knew the mechanic was changing of how thing works. I should have gone and gathered gravel before the update, because now blocks float in water, which is... You mine all the gravel down below and it all floats up to the top, and then you have to go and collect it, but it's all like in one block by one block, just spread out like crazy. And then the dolphins come along and push it all around. Oh my gosh. So much to deal. See, I think I'll go straight from here down to the ocean there and mine some gravel once I'm finished placing all of this particular thing. Fill up our boxes, then we can use this portal if we don't go out too far. Or I might get lost out in the ocean, which happens sometimes, and then I have to swim my way back. Then we'll go and get some sand, and that should be the last trip. Because you get quite a bit of concrete powder for the sand and gravel that you collect. Equivalent-wise, I mean. It's quite a good ratio indeed. And then we do have more bones at home, although I don't know if we have enough. So we'll have to see how that goes. Alrighty, let's turn around and keep going. And we are slowly making our ways to the top. Got the llamas down there. I don't think llamas ever saw the pyramid, or alpacas, or whatever. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe some have been brought. We should have some camels around here, rather. Camels could actually be quite an interesting addition. Like, they could get a speed buff on sand, compared to other grounds. They maybe couldn't jump as high as horses, but they're a bit faster. So that could be an interesting variation to bring to the game. Camels. At least they're a utility mob, whereas with the problem with transport now is like hardly anybody uses horses anymore, and very few people use rails and stuff because you have Elytra. That's the thing, is whenever you introduce the best of something, people always want to go for that, so they'll use the best of things. So unless you playing to a specific theme like Wild West, or what would Alpaca's theme be? Like South American, sort of, I guess, or Himalayan. But yeah, unless you're playing to those specific themes, like, why wouldn't you use an Elytra? There's not really any reason to, so that's the problem with power scaling in a lot of games. Oh gosh, the lag. Well, isn't this lovely? There we go. But yeah, this happens sometimes. Is if you're able to get access to the really good stuff really quickly, it impacts your enjoyment of the rest of the things, because you want to get somewhere, you want to get there now, so why use a horse when you can just fly there? In real life, what stops that from being a problem is money. Would you rather use your car and pay X amount, or would you use a plane and pay like 5 times X amount? So that's only in scenarios where you can't use your car, or it would actually for some reason be cheaper to use a plane. Would you go with a plane then? So that's what stops end game stuff like flight and whatnot becoming a problem in real life, is the money associated with it. But in games like Minecraft, there's no reason not to use an Elytra, or to use a horse instead of an Elytra. Like, what reason do you have? So it would be an interesting problem to tackle of how can you make it so that players are incentivized to use horses instead of Elytra? Like, what would be the benefit? Like, maybe horses have an affection meter and they need to be ridden a certain amount each day. But then for some players that would be an actual even further turn off. Some players might enjoy that mechanic, but other players would be like, no, that sounds like too much work for me. Or maybe make it so Elytra actually wear out after a certain period and they're not repairable. So yeah, you can use it to travel a long distance very fast, but you can only do it so many times and then you're back on your horse, which actually makes finding of Elytra like something of a luxury. Like, oh my gosh, I found this Elytra, awesome. I'm going to use it when I really need to. It's not going to be this item I just use all the time. But then some people complain, oh, I like the freedom that Elytra gives me. So you can never please everyone all the time. You can only please some of the people some of the time. It's a hard thing you have to learn in life. As we watch the sunset. That's one thing that really pleases me in the game. The fact that there's a day-night cycle and you can watch the sunset and rise. Especially with texture packs, or resource packs as they're now known. Because that can really, really change things and make things look absolutely stunning. Wonder if it's possible to have a square sun. Anyway, I better go to bed before it gets too late, otherwise the pyramid gets absolutely infested with mobs. Which might happen anyway, I might have waited a bit too long there. It seems we're good. So yeah, I wonder if you can have a square sun or square moon in real life. And if... What's interesting is that the cutoff on the moon is rounded. So it seems like the Minecraft world is like a flat earther's paradise. Like, it actually is circular. Or maybe it's spherical and the bedrock and world border keep the truth hidden from us. Maybe the conspirators on the Minecraft world are the spherists, not the flat earthers. the flat earthers are like mainstream, and the spheres are like, oh, we know that this world is a sphere. You can't tell us anything else. Oh gosh. Spherist conspirators. Actually, people have known that the Earth is a sphere for um, a much longer time than is generally thought. So this whole view that it's only a recent thing that we know that the Earth is not flat is not entirely true. Especially if you're basing it on worldwide, gosh, my mind's just gone blank. Worldwide culture, not just local culture, like Western culture. If you're basing it on worldwide culture, then there's a lot of cultures throughout history that have known, or at least suspected, that the world was not flat. So here we go. Also, Switch revision, that could be something that's coming out, a brand new type of Switch, which would be something super cool. A new type of Switch coming out, possibly better hardware, more storage, perhaps an XL version, extra large, bigger screen. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe a mini. I think if I had to choose between a Switch and a Switch Mini, I'd go for a standard Switch. Like when I bought my 3DS, I made sure I got a 3DS XL. I generally prefer the larger screen for a handheld device. Even I'm not so much on the portability of it, because even though it's handheld, I generally play it mostly at home. But when I do need it to be portable, it's still pretty portable. At least in my country, the guys' pants have quite large pockets, so we can just quite easily fit even something like that big in our pockets. But if not, then I can always just throw it in a bag or something if I really needed it to be portable. I do understand that the Switch is quite a bit larger already, so to make it even bigger than that would significantly reduce its portability. So that's an interesting thought to see which direction they're going to go with that. And that was an interesting sound out of the blue. But anyway, yeah. We were talking about the Switch. Yeah, I'm very, very curious as to the HD Rumble. If any of you have Switches and would like to leave in the comments what it feels like, the HD Rumble, because from what people say, it's a pretty amazing experience. Holding one of those controllers, and you can actually feel like there's this one mini game in Mario Party where you can flip meat in a pan, and you can actually feel the meat and sort of in the pan, like the actual weight of it. And that's a pretty cool thing to me, that technology has come that far, that the haptic feedback is that good, that you can actually feel the weight of a chunk of meat in the pan and which side is cooked and which side isn't, just by the way that the controller is vibrating. That's a super cool thought to me. As humans, we're very visual based, like vision is ultra important to us. So the two senses that are usually targeted in anything are sight and sound. But we do have 3 other senses, at least, I know there are more, that are hardly ever used. Like smell, for instance, is hardly ever engaged in media, or taste, or touch. So it's nice to see that the Switch is majoring on that HD Rumble, that the haptic feedback, you can actually touch things and feel what it feels like. I watched a video from a channel called Smarter Every Day on YouTube the other day, and he had this special made gloves that can actually make you feel things as hot or cold, or as soft or hard, or that's so cool to me. The immersion, the level of immersion that you can get with that, and the fact that reality and fiction are blending so closely together, it's just amazing. Because as most of you know, I'm a Christian, and I believe we were created in God's image, and God is a creator. So he told us to go forth and follow his will and multiply and be prosperous. And so in creating these fictitious worlds, in creating things beyond that which already exists, we are fulfilling that. We are going forth and creating that which was not, which is what he did to make us. So we are following in his image. What worries me is the fact that sin is still involved in this world, and that the things that people create will not always be to God's glory or for the good of everyone else. And things that can be created, for instance, with deep AI, in terms of images and fakes, and basically your whole persona can be faked now in an AI, and that can be really, really bad. But then you got the positive thing where people are creating whole worlds for themselves, and that is awesome to me. That's perfectly in line with what God's will was for us, I believe, is to follow in his footsteps and be creators. I mean, the whole Tower of Babel situation where he separated language, to the point where there are, I don't know how many hundreds, if not thousands, of languages in the world, and the reason given was nothing would be beyond them. That's what he said of humanity, that if we had one cohesive system, one cohesive government system, one cohesive language, and we utterly unified in our objectives, nothing would be beyond us. And we've seen that more and more in the modern world as we progress and as we go forward. And with the language I'm speaking right now, English, becoming more and more the international language, where people in China and whatnot are hiring foreign English teachers to come and teach them and learn basically the business language of the world, because we all want to be able to communicate with each other. We all want to be able to work together towards a common goal, and nothing will be out of our reach because we are created in God's image, and nothing is out of the reach of God. So that's a very, very interesting concept to me, in how far humans can actually and will actually progress before the end, before it all goes too far and he comes back. So it's very extremely interesting to me, that whole field of science and field of study. And yes, I do believe that science and God are reconcilable. The way I view science is it's a way of exploring his creation. Scientists are basically peeling back the source code and looking at the source code of the world, or trying to at least, of how did God work the world, and how can we use that code that he has formed an example of to make our own world and do what it is that we were created for, to be in his image. So I do believe the two are reconcilable. Do I believe that we can exist without him? No. No, I don't. Just like a game cannot exist without the system to run it, I don't believe the world or existence itself can exist without God, because God is what in everything and through everything. So yeah, just my personal viewpoints here, guys. These things interest me, and this is where my mind goes when I'm doing monotonous tasks like this, when I'm not watching YouTube videos. Because that's what I usually do sometimes, is just put on a YouTube video, half the screen, have half the screen be YouTube video and half the screen be this, and just place down stuff like this. In fact, even when I'm watching YouTube videos, normally I always have something else going, like I'll draw or do whatever, because it's the way my mind is I have to be doing two things at once, otherwise I get bored. And we've just run out of concrete powder there. We might actually have to make 2 trips looking at this, which is a bit concerning to me. Yeah, so we want to get as much gravel as we can this time around, because gravel is the biggest pain to get out of anything. So let's try and get quite high up so we can go into the ocean quite easily. And also sometimes it takes a while to get going. But yeah, like I was saying, I usually have to be doing 2 things, otherwise my mind gets bored, and it can go to some strange places. So I like to keep it occupied as much as possible. I suppose more intelligent people wouldn't have that problem. They'd be able to have the concentration and focus to focus on one thing at a time. But at my level of intelligence, I need to be focused on multiple things, otherwise I get bored. Right, so let us try and make it over here. There we go. Actually managed a smooth jump there for a change. Nice. Alright. So as you can see, the strange line that we have over here, I tend to follow that. And then we come over this way. And as you can see, large swaths of this ocean has already been degravelified by me. If we look down here. Because I've been looking for like large areas like this because it's easier to collect it when it floats to the surface. I don't see much gravel down here left. There's a nice layer. Okay. So let's go up and get some air, and then we'll focus on getting stuff from this layer over here. Now we must remember that pillar over here. That is where we need to head towards to head back home. Or back to the pyramid at least. Okay, so now you guys get to see firsthand what I was talking about. So we get down here, and it takes a little while for things to stop glitching out. And then we can do this. But most of the stuff that we should be collecting actually heads up to the surface instead of does not get collected, it just floats. So we have to go up and get it, which is a bit problematic because it really extends the amount of time that you spend doing this by like double. You could previously just walk into the stuff and collect it. Now you need to go up, float up top and get it. And yeah, you can do that between breaths of air, but I find it's actually better to wait between like 2 or 3 breaths of air before you do that, because the stuff does stay around for quite a while. And you run out of air quite quickly, even with the water breathing helmet. So up we go. And as you can see, all the gravel blocks have floated to the top over here. Alright, let's go and get another breath and then come back down, which we've done. Then we can fill these up. And we do collect some as we go along. I'll show you once we get to the end of this particular row or column or whatever. Here we go. So we do get some gravel as we go along, but like I say, about half of it gets lost to us. There might be a more efficient way of doing this, I'm just not aware of it. Tried to look up some tutorials, but most of them were on duping. Duplicating blocks in order to get it, which is kind of cheating to me. If you're going to play survival, play it properly. But again, that's up to each individual person how they want to play. It is a thing that you can do, so if you want to do it, do it. But to me, I like playing clean survival. So yeah. Here we go. Could just play creative if I wanted infinite blocks with no effort. Alright, now we should try and start collecting these blocks, because they will start despawning eventually. And as you can see what I was saying, they are incredibly spread out and incredibly difficult to collect individually. Well, not difficult, but it just takes forever and a day. Sometimes, if you're lucky, a dolphin will swim by, but that's a bit of a blessing and a curse, because what the dolphins will do is they will see all these blocks on the surface and go, yay, toys, and then start spreading them even further along the surface. But what they can also give you is the dolphin's blessing buff, I believe it's something along those lines, and then you swim super fast, which means you can collect the stuff super fast, which is cool. So they can be a bit of a blessing and a curse, depending on how they act when they come, if they come. But generally they do come. By the end of a collecting session, I think they see all the blocks floating from miles away and they're like, toys, we must play. Honestly, like, real life dolphins are the most playful creatures I've ever come across. That's so awesome. If only humans could be as happy. Yes, I know there are dolphins that are sad, but the vast majority seem to be very, very satisfied with their lives. Alrighty. This is very much, as you can see, not the funnest thing in the world to do. Float along the surface like a lawnmower. Basically like mowing the lawn without getting paid, or I guess you could say you're getting paid in individual blocks of gravel. But it's much harder to do than it was back before the update, that is for sure. And I don't really know any other way to get gravel. I tried scouring around the nether for a bit, but didn't really find any large sources of gravel there. I found 1 or 2 patches, but nothing easy to get to and that wasn't hanging perilously over. And there we go. I don't know if you guys just saw it, but a dolphin just chunked a bit of gravel over there. Alright, let's head on down here. I must say, I really like, and there's some dolphins over there as well. I really like how underwater looks now. Different animals or fish swimming around, the occasional dolphin that comes past. I'm really a fan of that, and the coral reef looks absolutely beautiful, as you can see over there. So yeah, I'm really a huge fan of underwater now compared to how it used to be. Just the inconvenience of the gravel gets me a bit. But that's my own fault. I should have gotten it before the update. But I was involved with moving and other stuff, so. Alright, almost done with this little patch here. So I'll stay down and take a little damage, got plenty of food. Alrighty, let's head on up then. And also it takes a while to float up, which is also a bit irritating, is that you can't follow your exact path because you have to go back to the oldest ones first. Anyway. Here we go. Oh, and another bit of a thing that's a problem here now that never used to be a problem is drowns. You get drowns spawning randomly, and some of them have tridents, which is why I'm using a trident as my main weapon at the moment, is because having to fight off drowned in the sea with a sword or a bow is not the easiest thing in the world, so the trident swims nicely through the ocean and actually strikes things pretty effectively in comparison to what a bow or sword would be able to do. As you can see, that whole patch of ground under there, I've already gotten the gravel from that. Basically de-graveling the ocean floor as we go along here. Alright, so now that way is home, so towards the sand islands there. So we got a little patch that I never got here the last time, let's just get that quickly. There we go. And there we go, I believe I hear one of those drowns. Can't entirely see it at the moment. Might have been down in the caves down below. Where can we go now and get gravel? There's a little patch there, but it's not really worth. Probably from the top of this, I would imagine would be the best. Over here. Yeah, looks like a nice bit that I've already started on at some stage, but just never finished. Probably my shulker boxes and whatnot were full at the time. Okay, let's leave that little stretch there and we can come back to it. There we go. Mining out some more gravel for ourselves. I haven't promoted the stream just because it's not going to be the most interesting stream in the world. I'd much rather go out and, in terms of promoting, I mean like post to servers and stuff. I'd much rather post streams that are interesting and not just me gathering resources and placing resources for like hours on end. Gonna start drowning now, so better start making our way up to the surface. And actually, we managed to get quite a few blocks, so I think we'll get it on this run quickly and get these resources. Here we go. And I just need to go and check something. Just a second, guys. I will be right back. Okay, be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. It sounded like there was somebody at the door, which would be pretty strange because it's like 10:15 at night right now. So yeah, better click these quickly before they all despawn. But yeah, I just need to go and check that out because I'm the only one awake at in the house at the moment. So, all right. I may seem a bit paranoid to those of you overseas, but when you live in a country where at least 3 people get murdered every minute, it's a bit. You have to be a bit safety conscious. So yeah. Actually, what are the statistics on that? I don't want to be telling you guys lies, so I'll check those up once I've just collected all these because I've already waited a bit too long on this. I can actually tell you how many murders there have been this year in this country. So yeah, there's a huge crime rate problem in this country. And we've got a creeper floating out there. What? Maybe you guys know how you got there, because I wasn't looking. You could be a problem, bud. Although we are in water, so I guess he'll be fine. Carry on collecting the gravel advice. Maybe he floated up from some ravine down there or something. Also, it looks like we have got pretty much a full inventory worth, but we need about 4 full inventory worths. Although sometimes the shovel doesn't last that long, sometimes it does. Depends on how good I am at collecting all the gravel that floats to the surface. Okay, but you're gonna need to actually go, because what happened to my trident there? Because I need to stand over here now. Okay, it doesn't look like you floated to the surface, because you should have been a one-hit kill then. Trident. There we go. Okay, so crime rate. Let's figure you out. Let's see what it actually is. Crime stats. South Africa. That's where I live, by the way. So while that's loading, takes a while. Let's head down here and try and find some more gravel spots for us to dig up. That's a drowned, so that's a drowned spawning spot, so that's not going to be too good to dig in. It's a nice little patch. Nothing too huge, I think, is left, so let's try and land here. Scroll this down. Alright, so in 2018, there have so far, and bear in mind that the year is like a month. Oh, little dolphin down there. It's like a month and whatnot from being over, so there's that. In 2018, there have been 601,366 contact crimes, 507,975 property crimes, a total crime number of 2,096,781. So yeah, that's quite crazy there. And this year has been a quiet year, by the way, in terms of crimes. So the crime is actually down compared to last year. So let's see. Murder. Currently, we are at 20,336 people murdered this year. And yes, I do sound very flippant when I say that, and I do not feel at all flippant when I say that. That is absolutely, absolutely atrocious, and something that should never happen. That there be that many murders in a single year it's terrible. But when I say I worry, when I hear sounds at my door, then that is why. For instance, when my cousins moved overseas, I've always called them my uncle and aunt because they're so much older than me, but technically they're my cousins. But when they moved overseas, I won't disclose where, but they were laughed at because they were telling people of how we have electric fences around homes here in this country. And people were like, no, you can't really have electric fences, you must be... No, we really do. And I understand that there are places in the world with worse crime and stuff like that, but yeah. For people that live in countries where a crime is worrying if your watch gets stolen or something, yeah. But this is much worse than that. So yeah. And I'm not saying that's everywhere in the world in this country. Everywhere in the world in this country. Everywhere in this country, but specific cities, part of which I live in. So yeah. And you have to live in the city in this country, otherwise you can't really get a good job except out on the farms. So, and I have back problems, like serious back problems. So, farming is not ideal for me. Excuse me. But things will get better. We will keep going, keep trying to make this world a better place in any way we can. We will keep trying to change people's hearts and minds and find out why it is that they do these crimes and what we can do to stop it. And yeah, hopefully have a way of dealing with all of this stuff. You only truly lose when you give up. If you keep trying, you never really lose. So that's what we have to keep doing as a nation, as a people, and as a planet. Is just keep trying. Never giving up. Alrighty, so let me finish collecting this gravel and then I want to get those stats off my screen there. The stats over on my TV screen just so that I could check it out while I did the stream for you guys. Alright. At the same time I don't want to lose all this gravel while I close tabs. Alright. Okay, let's close that out. There we go. This is a nice little patch here. So oh, there's some gravel that didn't float. Oh, there we go. Now we get the speed boost when we don't need it. Thank you, the dolphin. Oh my gosh, that's the speed boost I was talking about, guys. As you can get sometimes. So yeah, here we go. Let's just collect this stuff. There's a dolphin down there. That's probably the guy that gave it to us. Thank you very much, sir. You are trying to be kind. I appreciate that. Trying to make a positive influence in society. And that's the thing, is even when you think you're making a positive influence, it can have unexpected negative side effects that you weren't aware of. But at least you tried to be positive, which is more than can be said for a lot of people. So there's that. And sorry if that's making you guys a bit dizzy. But I do find it's the quickest way to collect gravel. Alright, let's head on up, because we are drowning. At least drowning is slowed down a bit. You don't drown very quickly anymore. Takes forever. Whether we're on the surface or under the water, we're still getting wet. Between the rain and the ocean. Alright, how are we doing? Got about an inventory and a half so far. Including the stuff that we've dug that's floating up at the top of the ocean. As you can see, collecting gravel is a long process. But I'm determined to finish today. Yeah, to come back to the whole crime thing, like parents tell stories of when they used to walk in the middle of town and go and see like the bakery and the shops and all sorts of stuff in the middle of town square, and you could walk around and all the windows weren't barred and there was no gates that locked things down, and you can walk quite late into the night even though my mom was just by herself with a few friends, and we've got a whole bunch of dolphins here now with us that are thoroughly enjoying the fact that we are digging up all these blocks, as you can see. But yeah, some of them have given us their speed, so we can do this a bit quicker. It does become a bit unwieldy though, as you saw there, to try and control. But yeah, and it's like these mystical stories in my mind's like, huh? Dude, that's so unsafe. How can you walk in town when the sun is setting, or even at night, and not worry? Mind does not compute because it's in such like this, they are must be safe. And it's not just paranoia without experience. Like, I have been mugged before, I have been held at knife point before, I have had things stolen from me, my house was broken into at one point almost monthly, and I have had to chase a guy that was accosting my mother away from the house where we lived. So yeah, we've this is really like the circumstance that we live under. So to think like there's places in the world where you can sleep with your windows open at night, and there's even some places in this country where it's safe enough to do so, out in the country, and some crazy people in the city who think crime will never affect them do that, but then they find out that crime does affect everybody. It doesn't discriminate. So yeah, but like when my cousins moved overseas, they were telling me it was quite an adjustment for them to think, yeah, I can actually leave my windows open at night now, and they I know my youngest cousin was saying she didn't feel safe doing that for the longest time, and I don't blame her. Like, I wouldn't feel safe even if I knew I was in a country that was safe. Like, my whole mentality is windows must be locked at night, and just make sure your bars are secured and stuff like that. So yeah, I must say the place that we live in now is a lot safer than the area that I used to live in. Not all of the windows have burglar bars on them, and when I first moved here, that was like sleepless nights because of that. And it really like puts your faith in God to the test. Like I said, I am Christian. I do believe in God, and I have to trust that He will keep me and my family safe. And it really puts that to the test when you see the horrible, horrible things that happen. I used to work at a restaurant, for instance, and quite often I would come there in the morning and all the stuff had been cleared out of it. It happened at one stage once or twice a month where I'd get there and all the stuff would be cleared out of the restaurant that I was working at, and that was heck of a scary. One of the days that I wasn't working, fortunately, and I must assume that that was God's protection controlling the stock sheet for me, because I was one of the few Christians working in that restaurant at the time, and I wasn't shifted that day, and they were taken into office, held at gunpoint, and yeah, they actually had to deal with that trauma of having a gun at their head, and that's not fun. And then I had to come in the next day and work. So yeah, there was also quite a few times where I had to chase people down the street where they would steal customers' handbags, and then I had to run after them and try and get them to stop. And fortunately, we live in a culture where crime is quite a usual thing, so there are people that will help you when you do that. So we'd have like car guards and stuff like running after us and trying to get these guys down, and one or two guys, yeah, managed to get them down. I had to physically pick up people and throw them out of the restaurant sometimes. So yeah, lots of fun. But I'm so glad I'm out of that situation right now, and I'm living in a much safer place and have a much safer job. So yeah, things are not always sunshine and roses, and you'll have to learn how to deal with that, and it really helps build your trust in God when things like that happen, that you always think, how will I react in this situation, or what will my reaction be, and you always hope that you'll be brave and that you'll be courageous and that you'll be the hero of the day sort of thing. But when it comes down to it, your knees start shaking, you start sweating, you start thinking of the 100 ways that you don't want to be killed in that particular moment, and you start realizing, hang on a second, you're not the hero you thought you were, and your thought immediately goes, Lord, help me. Please, I just need a way out of this. I need to keep my family safe, I need to keep my friends safe, I need to keep my customers safe, and hopefully you do the right thing and you act appropriately, whether that's giving the criminals what they want and just acquiescing to their responses. If they have a gun, you don't, that's what you do. You give them the stuff and you just let them have what they want, and you let God deal with them. Because I hate to tell you this, but you're not going to come out the victor against a gun. I don't care what your training is. You're not bulletproof. And there's Griff. Pretty awesome guy. But you're not bulletproof. So you need to live with the consequences of not being bulletproof and not be stupid and try and tackle a person holding a gun. And the best thing to do is just go. But if they don't have a gun, if they've only got a knife and you know how to deal with that, then that's a bit more sensible. But still, they've got a knife, you don't. So if it's just hand on hand, then yeah. Griff. But if it's hand on hand and you think you can take them, then yeah, then you can try and be a hero. But just be aware that even a fist can kill you if they hit you hard enough in the right spot, you're going down. But you need to try and assess the situation to the best of your capabilities and do what's best for everyone. Because you don't want to be the idiot that aggravates the guy with the gun and then he goes and shoots everybody around you with it. So yeah. Okay, that's all good. Fill that up. Get those in our inventory and then we can head on up. Yeah, as I was saying, the place where I used to live, almost every second week, we would walk in and our house would be cleared out. At one point, we just lost so much stuff. It was insane, and I was so glad to move out of that place. And where previously, like 3 or 4 years before, it was a good area and everybody was happy there and there was no crime or issues, but the country just degraded so quickly at one point that what was previously okay was no longer okay, and you had to adapt to that. But as I've said, it's gotten better over time, and hopefully it will continue to improve. This is such a beautiful country, guys. For those of you that have never been here, I took a walk today and just enjoyed the scenery for a change, and I was blown away at the beauty in this country. Even in the city, like, our roads have trees growing on the sides of them, and which a lot of places don't, where it's just like it's concrete jungle, but we actually have nature in our cities, which is such an awesome thing. And I live right by the beach, and I haven't been to the beach for ages because reasons. But you have such beauty here that you can go and explore and see, and I just really, really hope that this country can pull itself right. Because in a way, I've never really felt at home in this country for all the reasons that I've just been talking about. But in a way, I wish I could. I wish I could love this country. I wish I could see it for the potential I see in it. I want to. I want to turn around and say, look at my beautiful country. I'm so proud of it. You know, here, America gets a lot of flack from the rest of the world for a whole lot of reasons, and there's a dolphin playing with the gravel. But America gets a lot of flack from the rest of the world for a lot of reasons. But one thing I absolutely admire in Americans is their patriotism. How proud they are to be Americans. You see them flying their flags, you see them on their homes, and nobody's told them to do that. Nobody has to say, they don't have to run a proudly American campaign or anything to get them to do that. They proud to be American because they were born American, and they're proud of that fact. I wish I could turn around and say, I'm proud to be South African. And there was even a Proudly South African campaign that was running to try and instill that pride in the country. But when the people that, when most of the country doesn't have pride in itself, it's hard to have pride in your country when the country doesn't hold itself to standards. It lets crime flourish. It's corrupt. It's unjust. It doesn't respect the people that live in it and the nature that is in it. When it doesn't have any of that going for it, it's very, very hard to be proud of where you live and love it, which I really do wish I could do. Anyway, you got very deep there for collecting gravel session, I must say. So let's just collect gravel. And this is why I always have to have two things going at once, because otherwise my mind starts going like this. Let's think fun topics. What can we think of? My mind's still centering on all those previous thoughts. This is also where I wish I was more intelligent, that I could think of a solution to all of these problems instead of just bemoaning them, that I could actually come up with a concrete way of improving things for everyone. Be a doer, not just a sayer. Alright, here we go. Oh yeah, I know what I can talk about. I'm busy making an RPG at the moment, which is going to be quite cool. Having a lot of trouble because maths and my brain do not mesh. Generally, I am not very good at maths. For the reason, I do not know exactly what causes my brain to freeze up when it tries to work out maths and maths-related things. But yeah, I really tend to struggle with maths and whatnot. So making an RPG is quite difficult for me. And doing all the art stuff and all that, I'm okay with. I'm not the most amazing artist in the world, but I am passable. Like it's good to look at, most of it. And I like the story that I've created so far. I laugh at some of my own jokes, which is a good sign that I'm making it. It's more of a humorous adventure. It's not a humor game as such, but it doesn't take itself too seriously, which I think is important for oh, there goes my sword. Which I think is important for like a single developer making something. You can't take yourself like you're making a AAA. So my game doesn't take itself too seriously, which I like. It's still got a decent story. It's still got a serious story with serious things at stake and world-threatening bad guy and whatnot. But it doesn't take itself too seriously. But like I was saying, I've been busy designing skills for it because I found I was making the story and I was designing maps and I was designing the enemies and the battles and all that. But the problem was that every time I came to a new enemy and I wanted to give them a new skill, I had to go back and play the game right from the beginning again with that new skill and all its permutations included because I hadn't set it up beforehand. So I had to now rebalance the game based on that existing. So what I'm doing now is not the funnest part, is I'm going in and I'm creating all these skills and items and armor and all of that beforehand, and then I'm going to build the story afterwards. So I'm doing the not so fun part. But once I get on to what I consider, some people love maths and this would be the most fun thing in the world for them to do. But for me, it's not the not fun part. So when I get on to the fun part, which is actually creating maps again and creating artwork and stuff like that, I think what I'll do is I'll start streaming that on Twitch, and I think that will be quite a good thing to do, is get people's opinion and input into the game as I make it. So that will be pretty fun, I do believe. A pretty cool thing to do indeed. Alrighty. So we are almost done gathering gravel here, because our shovel is going to say that we're done because we will run out of durability on it. And then after this we will go and heal up our shovel, which is actually quite quick thanks to the gold farm. And once our shovel is healed up, we'll be able to go gather sand, and then we'll have to convert that all into concrete powder, and then hopefully we can finish placing the thing on this single trip. That is what I'm hoping, at least. Whether that will actually be the case or not, I'm not entirely sure. We might have to do one more smaller mining trip. I don't think we'll need a full 3 shulker boxes full of gravel and stuff for the next stage of this. Talking about that, we are almost full up on gravel here. I think what we should do is quickly just dive down. Fill this guy up. Hello, there we go. As much as we can. Here we are. Alright, and then do this. I didn't pick that up, okay. Let's make sure to pick that up when we go up there. Also be careful not to break our shovel. Just keep a close eye on that durability meter there. See how far am I willing to risk pushing this. Okay, I think that will be it. That's as far as I'm willing to risk pushing that shovel. In fact, let us do that. Okay, now where is that shulker box? There we go. There we go. I think we got it. Yeah, we do. Okay, now let's collect all this gravel, and then we can make our way to back to base, drop all this gravel off, get our shovel repaired. Once we've done that, we can then go and get some sand. I'm going to stop talking for a while because I've been talking for an hour and 20 minutes. I need to preserve some of my voice for just now. You can listen to the beautiful pop-pop sounds for now. Okay, I don't think I'm going to bother with these few little scraggly pieces here. Should be a good enough, decent haul to get us through. I will be a bit upset if we don't quite have enough, but oh well. I don't think 1 or 2 blocks will be the difference. It would probably be like 1 or 2 stacks. So at this point, we'd need to come back anyway. So yeah, let's make our way back to the pyramid. Hello. It's an odd road. Oh yeah, these are the coral blocks I was talking about earlier, by the way. Okay. Let's make our way back to the pyramid, which I believe is over this way, just past this birch forest. And then we can just take our nether portal back home. The nether portal actually comes out of Crafting's portal, so if she has a problem with that, it can just be removed. But it doesn't affect her, because if you go through her portal, you still end up in the nether. So, alright, let's make our way up here. It is getting late, so we want to get to the pyramid as quickly as possible, so we don't have to deal with too many mobs out here. Alright, so let's head on there. You can see the pyramid in the distance. Quite strange coming at it from this angle, to be honest. Yeah, I think I've only done this once or twice before. Usually I just walk back, but in the interest of speed for tonight, I think it will be quicker to go through the portal. Alright. Here we go. And this gravel shall soon be upon you in the form of concrete, once we have gathered sand. Let's actually head straight to the shovel repair, and then we don't have to like double back each time. So we'll run straight past our portal once we get in the nether, repair our shovel. Or maybe we should drop off the gravel just in case something happens at the... Yeah, let's drop off the gravel and be safe. Don't want to lose all this gravel right now. Alrighty, like I was saying, takes you here, which is Crafting's portal, and then my portal's right over here. Addy and Maya's desert area. Alright. Eat some food. And then we can place down blocks. we go. Alright, place that gravel in there. See how much we got. I actually do have some sea lanterns over here. Must have been from one of my previous trips into the coral reef. Okay. Haven't got a... oh, we didn't get a crazy amount of gravel, but got a decent enough amount, I suppose. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Gosh, stop with that single one opening, please. Thank you. Okay, those are all empty now. What we do want to do is just put all detritus in there. Collect these up. Leave Griffith sleeping. Help him along. Right, so then we can go mend our shovel and go mine sand, which is actually a much quicker process because we don't have the double barrel of waiting for it to float in order to collect the rest. So it goes much quicker. Did I just get it? That's interesting. So I threw the trident while I was in the nether, and then I got teleported out of it before it came back to me, but it was with me in the overworld. So are those two separate instances of the same weapon? Very interesting indeed. I didn't get a second one when I came back, which might have happened if that was the case. Maybe because it was maybe if I had moved it to a separate slot. Maybe that's a way of duping tridents, but I'm sure somebody else would have come up with it if that was the case. Okay. And as you saw there in the brief glance, the nether is looking pretty cool. Curly Mally's been busy on that along with Griff and Cortez, I believe. If I've left anybody out, I'm sorry. Alright, up we go. Oh, sorry, bit of slip and slide over there. I've got a new chair, by the way, so that's why you haven't heard any chair adjustments. What you will hear right now, though, is the sound adjustment. There we go. Yeah, so I've got a new chair at the moment, which means that I've been able to sit in the same position for this entire hour and a half without a single chair adjustment, which is absolutely brilliant. For those of you that have watched my streams before, you know that I have to adjust my chair every few minutes previously, but now I have been sitting comfortably for a good hour and a half solid without having to adjust my position in the chair, which is awesome. So that is really, really cool. Much more comfortable now, especially since the job I do, I sit in a chair for most of the day, so being able to sit in a comfortable chair makes all the difference in the world. Whew, it is hot tonight. Got the fan going, even though it's 10:48. Wonder what the current temperature is. It's another thing to Google, I believe. So let's take this armor off, because things repair much quicker if you don't have it. So let's see. Well, let's just see what the temperature is. It is currently 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's not extremely hot, but for this time of the night it is. It feels much hotter than that, certainly. Alright, and I have moused off of the gravel digger shovel, so it wasn't getting repaired. I wonder how long that was for. As you can see, it repairs much quicker when you don't have the armor equipped, because even though the armor is fully repaired, it still tries to repair it for some reason. Weird. That must be a glitch, right? It can't be intended functionality. Okay. We're getting up to a decent level on our shovel now. Almost fully repaired. And just a few more zombies to give me their experience. And there we go, fully repaired. And I must remember to put this on. That's why I wanted to get rid of the gravel, because sometimes what happens is I forget to put that on. I always send the minecart down for the next person, but I prefer to do this. For me, it's just a much better way of getting down there than the minecart is. And also a nice trick if you want to head straight down on a elytra but you don't want to die when you hit the ground, is you just do this with your mouse as you go down, and that tends to give you a soft landing and also gets you down pretty quickly. Alrighty, so let's head on this way, because we now need to go and dig up sand, which is in the mining desert, which is along this way. So you come down this little stairwell that somebody dug, and take an about turn, and down the hall of many torches. I think I placed one row of the torches, but not all the way to here, like about just to that far wall there, and then somebody else came along and carried it all the way to that side. That was pretty cool. Yeah, there's my torches over there, and somebody else has just gone crazy over there with those torches. Alrighty, so let's make our way over here. And somebody's put in a second row here now. Even though it doesn't technically need it in the nether, it's still nice to have a bit of light in the nether. I don't like the dark gloom of the nether, which is why I've never really built much in it. Alrighty, here we are. This is how it normally looks in the nether without all the torches. So yeah, I think the torches are a significant improvement upon things. Although they are very haphazardly and needlessly placed, I will admit that. Okay. Here we go. Welcome to the wasteland. So yeah, this is basically where we all get our sand from, if you haven't seen this before. That mountain being hollow is pretty much from me getting sandstone for the pyramid, and there's another mountain a bit further back that's also pretty much hollow from me getting sandstone from the pyramid. So over here is where I've been getting my sand recently, as you can see. So let's carry on digging here. And finally, an hour and a half later, the Minecraft music decides to kick in. Welcome. Gosh, took you long enough. Alright, now we can just gather the sand. And as you can see, it is much easier to gather sand than it is to gather gravel. Okay, so here we go. Gather as much of this as we possibly can before our shovel breaks. And hopefully we will have enough to finish the pyramid. Might have to make 2 trips to fully finish it, but oh well. I want it done. Don't like having a half-finished project like that hanging over my head. Certainly not for as long as it has been. One of the traditional old classic tunes, this. Really like it. Mott's just come away from being AFK apparently. That looks like Griff is AFK. AFK for the uninitiated is away from keyboard. So you're basically not at your computer. And why would you want to be AFK? Well, certain farms in this game for getting items and certain things you don't need to be at your keyboard. You can just let it run automatically. You can set things up to run automatically so you don't need to be there. So you can just let it run in the background, collect resources for you while you do other stuff. Unfortunately, like I was saying, unless you duplicate sand, which is technically cheating, well, in my eyes at least, there's no real way of doing that for sand and gravel. But like I say, some people enjoy the fact that you can do it. So yeah, but it is a bug. It's not an actual feature of the game. So I like to build things legit. Alright, let's keep on digging. And I'll show all the stats of stuff once we've finished. Of how much sand, how much gravel, how much sandstone. All that sort of stuff. Wish there was a time tracker sort of thing that I could show. How many hours I've spent on that pyramid. Far too many. Like I said, I wouldn't do this pyramid again. If I could go back in time, I would tell myself, don't build it so massively huge, you silly person, you. Build it, but just not to that scale. But I am not one to not finish something when other people are involved. Like on the server, I wouldn't like to leave a half-finished pyramid for them. With Egypt and stuff like that, I don't really mind, because that's supposed to be community. So I don't mind leaving those buildings like half done for extended periods of time, because it's supposed to be everybody that's working on it, but that's not really what's happened this season. It's everybody's gotten segregated into their own area and only seems to be working on their own areas, unfortunately. Whereas last season everybody worked together on one city. Now we're all working on separate cities. It's time to get Betty Buys. Now there are 3 people, so this night might go even slower, which is definitely not ideal. Let's wait and see what happens. Yeah, look how slow night is going now, because nobody else is sleeping. And that was plenty of time for mobs to spawn. Fortunately, it appears that none have. Back to sand mining. As you can see, we almost have a full inventory already, compared to the gravel, which took considerably longer. Also, it's gotten greater quality. It's not like a one deep bit of gravel. It's like the sand's quite deep here, so you get quite a bit per actual row compared to the gravel. So that is indeed much nicer. Okay, that's inventory full and more, obviously. Let's do that. Hello. There we go. And that's one shulker box full. And let's collect all the sand that we didn't collect on our first run through over here. There we go, quite a decent amount. Right, now we have no sand back at home, so let's try and get as much as we can, because gravel we had a bit of backup, but sand we had absolutely nothing. I wonder if it would pay to head back to the world tree and see. No, but we should collect enough here without having to buy any. Not that I know if anybody sells any. Before the shovel runs out, I mean. Have enough to collect any. Have the ability to collect enough. Alright. Just keep going. Getting jolly good amounts of sand, that is for sure. Getting sand is so much more enjoyable than getting gravel. That's something that doesn't need to be in our inventory right now. Those sticks and the dirt. Taking up the spaces for the sand. Alrighty, let's run down here and just collect these little offshoots that get kicked off as we dig. So we're not wasting durability as much as possible. Oh. Okay, here we go. Collect all of this stuff up. And Griff is just gone. Alright, we slowly make our way through all of this. Getting there. Just need to be here for a little while longer, then we can get back to actually completing the pyramid, hopefully. Right, time to collect all the little bits. And this actually does make a difference of at least a stack or two as we come through here, so it's worthwhile to do. And much easier than collecting it from the surface of the water. Like with the gravel. What we must also be careful of is there's a giant ravine under here that sometimes when you dig the sand can actually open up a hole into, so you can fall into that. That's why you're hearing the bats and stuff. Let's just be careful you don't fall into that as you're digging all the sand. Okay, that's that inventory full. That's the one that already had sand in it. So there we go. Collect you and you. And diggy diggy. Looks like we might not get a full third. Interesting. The shovel is not lasting as long as it should for whatever reason. Don't quite know why that would be. Sometimes I get 4 full inventories, sometimes I only get 3. It's quite strange. Don't know if it's the way I use the shovel or what, but yeah. Or maybe I'm just able to collect things better sometimes. I don't know. But for it to be so low already is very concerning. Especially since I don't have any sand whatsoever back around. Okay, let's collect all this up. Let's see how far we are with all this. Not too shabby, I guess. Bear in mind that we've still got a full, well, an empty shulker box we need to fill. And when we get home, we need to turn this all into concrete powder. which isn't too difficult to do at least. Especially with the new crafting system. With the old crafting system, oh my goodness, that would have been terrible, but at least with the new one it's quite easy. Just a few clicks of a button. Okay, now is when I must start watching my shovel and not the sand I'm digging. So if I'm start digging very strangely, that's why. It's because I'm not exactly looking at the sand, I'm looking at the shovel to make sure I don't break it. Okay, let's eat some food. Collect all the offshoots once again. Still do love the little popping sounds that the blocks make as they come into you. Okay, let's just do that and that so we don't pick up that stick. How is the shovel doing? 247, okay. So I think we should be able to finish this row. Okay, there we go. Let's get the shulker box down. Get all that in there. And then pick up what we can. I don't think I will dig anymore, just out of concern for the shovel breaking. We'll pick up what we can though. Don't think I'm going to bother sleeping either. We'll risk whatever dangers on the way back. There we go. There's a few little blocks over here. Okay, so we got a decent amount. Not as much as what I was hoping for, to be honest, but oh well. There have been times when I've been able to get 3 shulker boxes and an inventory full, but not this time. That sounds easy enough to get. Okay, let's head through here and then make our way back home. Craft up that stuff, the concrete powder. Make our way back to the pyramid with it. Now, I used to have a lot more shulker boxes, but unfortunately I died in lava and lost all of them. So, you would think that would teach me to use an ender chest, but oh well. Live dangerously. Here we go. And around the corner. Woohoo. With this spooky nether music. Mining desert, which indeed we have used it for extensively. Don't think I've ever dug as much sandstone. So we'll stay way up here. And just turn around. And then we need to go this way. Strange redstone path for whatever reason. Don't want to break it in case somebody's actually using it for something, but yeah, it's pretty weird that it's just out in the open like that. And we are on 1 hour and 50 minutes so far. Did not think it would take this long. Very interesting. Shows you just how much time has gone into this. pyramid that I could have used for other things. Okay, let's do that. This. Here we go. And there we go. Let's see down here. Okay, cool. Now we need to start making the stuff. So you can all go in there. You. Can all go in there like so. And then we need to have you in our inventory. And then gravel. You have to have a certain mixture, that's why I'm taking it out by hand. And then sand. There we go. We come here, do that. And we can place this in here. Chilly good. Get some more sand. Get some more gravel. And it looks like we're gonna need to go get more bones. Okay, we'll see. Hopefully we have enough. Put that in there. This in there. So this is basically what you do to change gravel, sand and bone meal into white concrete. Of course you would use your dye of choice depending on what colour of concrete you want, but we are going for white because it is the colour of the pyramids. There. Oh dear. Running very low on bone meal indeed. Oh gosh. Didn't mean to double click. Okay. Yes, I do mean to double click that. There we go. Okay, let's place that away for now. Don't have much more bone meal. Well, let's see how far this gets us. Still night time, so let's go to sleep. And then make our way to the pyramid when we wake up. And I finally need to do a chair adjustment after 2 hours. Gosh, that is pretty good, I would say. Good testament to the comfort of this new chair. Alright, off we go. To the pyramids. Oh, now do I have any bone meal in here perhaps? These were originally my bone meal chest, but nope, I've used them all up. Oh darn. So I don't think this will be enough to finish the pyramid, what we have on us. There's a husk, just chilling. What would be an interesting project for the people that like villagers is to bring some villagers here and see if they would recognize these as homes. There's another husk down there. I'm just going to run past him. Don't particularly feel like dealing with him at this moment. Oh, excuse me, sorry about that. When you talk for 2 hours straight, that is to be expected, I suppose. Okay, we are getting close to our destination at least. Dun, dun, dun. The music has stopped, so it seems eerily quiet all of a sudden. Mantis's beautiful Colosseum over there. Absolutely stunning. It's a pity I didn't get to build more with Addy. I would have enjoyed that. Alright, because we originally planned to build this pyramid together, but unfortunately we weren't able to, and I had to do it mostly by myself, well, entirely by myself, with some help from Squid and Griff. Squid has helped, and I Griff did light underneath, so there was that. Okay, let's make our way around the pyramid again to the back side of it. Need to cover it up. Here we go. It's quite a strange perspective on things, coming up at a diagonal like this. Alright, let's run along here. Yeah, I didn't even bring water buckets with me because I don't think this will be enough to finish the entire pyramid, but we'll have to see how we go. Maybe what I should do is half this and see how far half of this, how much, if this can fill a half or not, and see if I'll need to double this amount or more than double. If it's more than double, oh my gosh, it's going to be a while yet until this stream finishes. Okay, let's make our way to the top and then just come down the middle and half this with the blocks. Granted, it will be slightly more than half because the halfway line will be filled already, but yeah. Make our way up to the top. To the tippy top. And it is an odd pyramid. It starts on 1 and then ends somewhere down there. But it is possible to cut it in half, is what I'm trying to say. It does have a middle. Okay. So this is the middle. So let's just... Oh, not what I wanted to do. I didn't need to place 2 of you. Right, and let's see how far this takes us. Bear in mind that every level we go down, it's adding 2 blocks to the amount that we need to actually fill. 3 blocks actually, I think. No, just 2 maybe. Anyway. Yeah, it's still quite a way down until we reach the level there. More than 64 blocks, gosh, okay. So I've actually been playing Naruto Shippuden a bit again. For those of you that watched my channel for a while, I did play that a while. I don't know if those videos are still up or not, but yeah, it's quite a fun game. I'm getting more into it now and learning the combos and the attacks and whatnot, so it's quite fun to do. Just in my spare time to chill. Get out some frustration on not real people instead of unreal people. That's a brilliant thing about games. Okay, here we go. So like I was saying, we'll see how far this gets us. Hopefully it will more than do this half, although I'm a bit doubtful of that. And honestly, I should have repaired my shovel before I came here. Oh well. At least it feels like we're making more progress now, because we're not covering such a great distance before we make the turnaround. It's good for the old psychology. And we've just hit 2 hours, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you, if any of you, have actually stayed with me this entire time, thank you so much. It's absolutely amazing. I really appreciate that. I know it hasn't been the most interesting of videos, but I really just want to get this pyramid done. Get it behind me. Okay. Another turnaround. We'll see once we've finished this first little bit how far we have gone. Which we almost have finished this first little bit. Alright. It's so weird to be building a pyramid and see a roofed forest in the distance. It's just this pyramid completely swallowed the desert, so yeah guys. See the problem we have of just how many blocks it takes to build this thing. It's absolutely insane. Alright, well, we're on to shulker box number 1. Let's see how far this gets us. I'll be happy once we start getting high enough that one stack can actually cover one row. That means we're making decent progress. But, like, we've halved these rows and one stack doesn't even cover a whole row, so yeah, that's not too good. Absolute insanity. Why did I ever do this to myself? And Griff is back. Okay. Just keep building, just keep building, just keep building, building. See how far we can get. Keep going, keep going. Wish there was a faster way to place blocks. Like I say, it's much easier placing the sand than it was placing the sandstone, that is for sure. Much faster too, from what I can tell. Sandstone is just super tedious. Gonna need to sleep soon. Get the bed ready. I think I can do a bit more before I need to sleep. Stars are starting to come out there, which is not great. Okay, there we go. Don't want mobs spawning because that just complicates things ridiculously. Alrighty, there we go. Let's just keep placing blocks behind us as we go. I've got about halfway through the first shulker box there. You can sort of see the top. Just placing blocks. Was kind of hoping I'd get more people in chat so that I'd have company during all of this, but unfortunately it looks like not too many people are up for joining tonight, so oh well. Okay. Oh, don't want to lose even a single block there. Kind of get the feeling of what the workers must have felt like when they were working on the pyramids. Obviously with much more back-breaking bone toil, but yeah, just the feeling of, will this thing ever be done? It'd be interesting to know how many individual blocks the pyramid is made out of. See if this, see how this one compares to that. Obviously that one is full, it's not hollow like this one is, but still, it would be interesting. Of course, this is nowhere near to scale, so yeah. You must remember one block in Minecraft is a meter by meter cubed, so. How are we doing? 4 more stacks to go through. Roughly. Then we'll be on to our second shulker box. Looks like we'll definitely have to get some more bones, unfortunately. Ah, we're actually making it across by the looks of things. Within a single stack now. Which is nice. Maybe. Or else I just misread that. Yeah, looks like I misread that. Oh well. Ah, and that's it. Okay. So... Huh. Interesting. Let's see how far this one takes us. The ideal is that I can make it fully over all of this without breaking, without having to need more than 3 shulker boxes full. That's the ideal. because that means that we'll have enough to finish on what we've got at home, plus a few bones, I guess. Oh. As the music kicks in again, for the second time in 2 hours. Oh, okay. So we still, oh no, we're not quite still in our inventory, which is unfortunate. We're in our extended inventory already. Thought we were doing better than what we are. Okay. Do a bit of a hop around. Oops. That happens sometimes, as I'm sure you've seen a couple of 100 times by now. Pretty much run out of things to say at this point in time. Happens when you go for 2 hours straight on a monotonous task like this. What's nice is the fact that we're building up means that it's 2 less blocks every time we make it up, so it does get quicker the higher we go. And use less blocks as well. Yeah, I'm actually curious how close we are to doing a stack per level. Quite far from it by the looks of things. Let's see, how far does 64 blocks get me?